Hey, Tracy.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Hanging in there. Getting used to the new routine.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Getting any sleep?
Some.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, that's the hard part, is getting used to that 3-hour feeding. It's like once it's done, it's like it's here again.
Yeah, you don't really get used to it. That
Yeah.
eventually stops.
Yeah.
Start to one morning you wake up and you're like, oh, I slept so long, right in a row.
So can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. We're waiting on Kyle.
When was the last time we saw Kyle? He hasn't been on here in
Been
a
a
year.
long time.
Yeah, probably about a year, I think, maybe.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, when I contacted him, I don't know, it was not for this session, but for another one, and he was not available. He said, I thought you guys forgot me. We can go ahead and start if you guys want to start your pre-work session. Hopefully he'll join us. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, well, while we're waiting for Kyle to join, I'm not going to be here next time around. So, Angela, hopefully you are.
I think so. When is the next one?
February
is a-
4th.
I forgot, the 4th, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll be here.
Kyle, can you hear us at all?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Are you going to do a visual, or are we going to just look at your name?
You'll see me in a few minutes. I got to get to a computer.
Okay.
I pushed myself with my work hours.
Oh.
How's everybody doing? It's been a
Well,
while.
Good.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah, we were just saying it's been maybe a year since we saw you. We were trying to remember.
I know. I Kelly. I was like, you guys forget about me? Am I still on?
We're glad you're still around.
Yeah.
And your little boy's, how old is he now?
22 months.
Oh, gosh.
Ooh,
And
Running around.
Yeah. It's,
Tracy, your new addition is how old?
We just hit the 1 month mark on the 16th.
all right.
So yeah.
finally waking up.
Yep.
And all of a sudden they just scream out. or something.
Yeah.
Figured it out.
Tracy, what's your son's name?
Leo. It's after my grandpa.
I love that.
Oh,
Yeah. Nice and easy.
Mhm.
Kyle, are you okay if we continue on and,
Oh yeah. No, go
Okay.
ahead. I'll be a few minutes.
all right, then let's go ahead and
Sure.
guys do your thing.
Yep. All right. So we have a few to talk about. And the first one is the public hearing at 412 Newport, where there's a new front porch going on a house. So I'll start with Carol.
I think it looks great.
Okay. Angela?
yeah, this one, I liked it. I did wonder what they were doing with the cover a little bit, the one that's there, but it's looks good. I don't know. That little metal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
about
I
you?
thought it looked good too.
Yeah, this is Kyle. I thought it looked good, but I thought the plans didn't match exactly what was there. But conceptually, as far as the timbers and everything, I liked it.
Yeah, I didn't really have any comment. I thought it looked nice. Be a nice addition to the house. So I guess we all are good with it.
Yep.
Just gotta discuss it.
Yeah, no, it's a
Public.
public hearing, so. All right, the next one was possible motion on 1034 North Bompart. And there were new drawings sent out. I know we all had maybe comments addressed. I know mine were. How about you, Tracy or Kyle?
Yeah, my comments were addressed too. I was wondering about those upper windows that were not shown in plan, that were shown on the elevation. It looks like they fixed that. So that was my only comment. I'm good with it.
And Kyle?
Yeah, my comments were addressed.
All right, Carol?
Same with the clarifications. All my comments were addressed.
And you, Angela?
Looks good.
Yep. All right, so we'll be able to pre-approve that one. Next was 1040 Almont. Did anyone have any comments?
Yeah, I had a few. It just seemed like not all the changes were really noted on the revised plan. I was looking at the clouded elements that have changed. And I think that looked like the band board had been removed. The siding style is different. Looked like the metal roof at the rear is removed. So I think maybe we just confirm that all those are actually changes. It looks like it's under construction right now. But one thing I did want to bring up is that the brick ends right at the corner of the garage. There is no return onto the side elevation. And I think that would be an improvement if we can add that. That way the brick doesn't look like a veneer that's just tacked on. It's more of an element that kind of wraps the corner.
Mhm.
That's all I had.
Okay. Did anyone else have comments?
You know, I can't say I care for the arch over at the porch. I don't know how everyone feels about that, but it doesn't really go with the house to me. Like it just looks like an added on thing. That they decided they wanted an arch somewhere, you know, I don't know. I can't say I care for it. I appreciate that they've constructed it already without getting it approved, but I don't know how everyone, I'm curious, I guess, how everyone else feels about it.
I didn't like it, but I felt like it was kind of shallow. So it felt like it was kind of just like a slight wave. It didn't look, it looked out of place to me as well. But I thought if it had more prominence, it might tie in better. I've seen sometimes where they do that detail and have a different roof material.
I certainly like the original version better. I agree that it looks that arch needs to be more prominent if it's going to be there. I didn't think it was absolutely horrible, but I think it could be improved upon. I also think that some of the window changes, specifically on the side where we now have high windows instead of the longer windows, and then also removing the windows on the rear of the garage, that area looks a little blank. I mean, it's not, once again, it's not horrible, but I feel like the original looked much better.
Yeah, I had a little, because I noticed what Tracy said, there's quite a few changes actually, and some of the things we would have asked them to change it. Had they presented that to us to begin with, we wouldn't have gone with it. So we would have asked them to change it. So now here we are, they changed it and to what they wanted, I guess, or decided. They built it that way.
I agree. That's the way I feel about the window removal on the rear. We do have quite an expanse of uninterrupted wall. And if we had seen that originally, I think there may have been some discussion about breaking that wall up a bit.
Yeah.
Even if they wanted to do high windows or something there just to relieve it and get some natural light into their garage.
I don't know. I guess I feel like maybe there was some misunderstanding that they could do all of these changes, or, you know, or why they were done. It's kind of.
So this is Kyle. And Kelly, I don't know, or if you or anyone else on the call can, if we voted to not accept the changes, what would happen next?
I really don't know. I don't think I've encountered that with you guys. I mean, it would be a disapproval of the new plans. Essentially, they would need to revert back to your approved plans.
or something in the middle.
I think you need to just have a discussion with the owner contractor and see, if you can come to a compromise, or, if you guys don't feel like what he's done is acceptable, then, you just need to talk about it. But he has built this, most of this is all already built.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess my thought on the entry is, I like the original better. It's more compatible with the rest of the house. I agree with the comments that if I would have seen an arch, looked like I would have probably not chose that proportion, but I guess I don't feel like at the end of the day, it's, all that bad. And I do agree with the garage elevations, missing the windows. So I really, I think the question of the garage windows and the entry piece, if there's members that feel, I guess we'll have to talk through what other changes aren't on the drawings to clarify for Tracy's point first. And just talk through what it means at the entry in the garage. And see where we land. I'm not sure there's anything else we can talk about now. I mean, obviously they'll be on the call, right?
So there's one thing I just wanted to ask, I guess, maybe, but it makes me feel a little bit like if we say, oh, well, you changed it and you've already constructed it, so we approve it, gives everyone in the whole community the chance to say, oh, well, then I'll just construct it the way I want to, and who cares what they say? So, I guess I have a little problem with that, the kind of asking forgiveness rather than us approving the drawings. And so, kind of throws the whole board out the window if they can just go build what they want to. And then
I think it's in your purview to go either way. It depends on, how much you feel the change is worth the comment or standing on, I don't know, it's, you can go either way. It just depends on how hard you want to take the case.
Well,
okay.
it does seem to me that there must have been, or should have been, if there wasn't some knowledge of the considerable risk they were taking, making this number of changes and constructing them without consulting the city. It seems to me that there must have been some knowledge and knowing that a considerable risk that may be costly was involved with making these changes without consulting the city.
Okay, I just,
Yeah.
It's a
I mean,
conversation.
Right, and I think
Yeah.
to your point, Angela, I mean, it's a good point, because if there were things on here that we, as a board, decide when we vote, I think that the idea that someone might make a change and that we would automatically disagree with it just because it's a change, I mean, I think that's kind of.
oh, yeah, I don't mean that as much as.
Right. No,
it's
and
so
I
extreme.
understand. Yeah, certainly. Because if there's, to me, I'm going to go back to the entry again. I think it could have been improved. I don't think it's. I just look at it from, if I would have seen it the first time, the comments I would have made. I don't know if they would have changed it or not.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a little subjective, but there are some things I think where, if I would have seen it change, I would, you know, I might feel stronger about it. So I guess we've had that happen once, maybe.
Right.
It's been a few years ago, I seem to recall. But I guess each board member should just really be, you know, clear about how they feel about anything in particular when we're discussing with the contractor, whoever's on the call. So all right, so then the last one is 818 Providence. I'm not sure there were it's been a long day. Did we voted for pre-approval with clarifications on the documents received? That's right. So those were sent back with comments, and that was the sheet of comments. Not, did I see drawings? I don't remember seeing drawings. On 818 Providence.
I don't think so. I think we just got I think I just got the
Email.
list.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I just want to make sure. So.
Bob, point of clarification, they did send drawings changing the sliding doors that were behind the breakfast room table. And now we went back to the original elevation, which does not have those sliding doors. And after that, I believe is document, the text document was submitted. So,
Oh,
so we did have that one drawing that changed those sliding doors on the rear. I don't know, can you guys see that one?
yeah. I think for some reason I lost track of that drawing. So to me, I almost wanted to see the, because there were some other, I guess we'll have to discuss this with the group, but there were comments made about possibly adding a double window in the bedrooms. I'd want to see that. I don't know. Does anyone have any concerns about this one?
I didn't know.
Okay.
So Mara's got on this one possibility of moving to vote and pre-approved. Are you guys are you there with that, or are you?
I would, well,
Or Bob, you said something about wanting to look at some windows?
Well, there's a note in here about twin window in the center bedroom, so that's unresolved.
Okay.
I had made a comment that about possibly adding a window on that elevation somewhere, either a second window in that center bedroom or one in the walk-in closet. And I believe that this is their response saying that they would be willing to make the window in that center bedroom a twin and center it in the bedroom. And I think that would be fine. That would help break up the siding a little more, give us more window square footage and less siding.
I guess my question is, do we want to see the drawing with these revisions?
before we approve it.
Yeah, so if the changes are the center window and the center bedroom, or the window and the center bedroom being switched out, and then the revision to the rear elevation, which, could you show that again, Carol?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have that copy for some reason.
See, tell me when you can see it, okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I guess if those are the two changes, I would be okay with them. I don't see anything else on here.
I think a lot of them were just maybe clarifications as far as calling out the materials.
Well, and I think maybe that's where, I don't know if this is messier, to have it undocumented, which is kind of, Kyle, what you had just said is kind of where I was going at first, and I lost my train of thought, but none of this is on the drawings. So personally, I kind of feel like all this should be on the set of drawings so that it's clear. That's my take on it. I don't really feel, it's disjointed at this point. I think it's
I mean,
gonna
it is-
easily get
it is
lost.
preliminary, so
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
that's sort of how, that's how I feel about it. So,
Then they got to build it to the drawings. So
But just as a follow-up, the original set that we received did not have any material callouts on it. As far as the siding, the column size, all those kinds of things. And I had asked for those clarifications in a comment. And then it looks like when they came back with that revised elevation where the rear door was changed, there are material callouts on this now, on this revised one. So some of that information did indeed make it on things.
Yeah, actually it is. You're right. A lot of that is
Okay.
Yeah.
all on here now.
It wasn't on the first set. that
Yeah,
we
it didn't
Yeah.
have all the its notes. Yeah.
Right, but
Okay.
then, when they did make that change on the rear, at that follow-up drawing, the callouts are on there now.
okay. Well, if that's the case, then I would be, I'll change my point of view, but there were a lot of emails I don't remember seeing.
Yeah, I had to go back and kind of pick through everything and print it out and make notes on it for myself.
Yeah. All right, so we'll talk about we'll talk about the window, and then we can decide with the group on with us, if we're gonna move it to a vote or not. How's that?
Sounds fine.
Okay, and then Kelly, it's you and Will tonight,
Yep, it's Will and me
down in City Hall.
up in the chambers,
Yeah,
all by ourselves. Kind of weird.
mhm. I guess there's still any meetings taking place at City Hall up there?
Nothing, no, everything's being done via Zoom.
Yep.
So that's the way of it right now. Well, we're close enough to time. If you guys are comfortable, we can go ahead and start.
Yep. All right, well, welcome everyone else that's online. We just finished our work session. So our official meeting will now begin. This tonight, we have Kyle Wilson, Tracy Collins, Angela Thompson, and Carol Dunke, and myself, Bob Buckman. the volunteer architects on the board, and then Will Penny and Kelly Campbell with the city at City Hall. First item on the list is meeting minutes from our last meeting. There are 3 of us here, Carol and Angela and myself, so that's enough to review and make a motion on the January 7th meeting. So with that, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the January 7th minutes as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, so the January 7th meeting minutes have been approved. Next, we have a number of pre-approvals. So as I read them off, I'll just ask the members when they state their motion to read what was circulated by Mara and Kelly. The first one would be 1034 North Bompard. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 1034 North Bompard as submitted with the clarifications received 1/2021.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? 1034 North Bompard approved. Next, we have 645 Lockwood. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve 645 Lockwood with the clarification that the siding on the addition will match the existing siding.
Second.
Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay, that's approved. Next, we have 667 Marshall. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 667 Marshall as submitted.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right, that's approved. 1312 Webster Forest. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve 1312 Webster Forest as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? It's approved. And then 621 Lee. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 621 Lee with the clarification that there will be trim around the windows and the man door, and the head height of the windows will match the man door.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay, 621 Lee is approved. Next on our agenda is 412 Newport, which is a public hearing to construct a new front porch. Kelly, is there anyone online?
So anyone who's online for 412 Newport, raise your hand, please. Okay,
There you go. Can you hear
can you
me?
hear us?
Yeah.
Great.
Hello.
Hi, Mike.
This is my grandparents' house I bought from my grandmother. I'm one of the few people in Webster who can say to live in the Blaze house. And it's had this 3-story facade that I've always wanted to soften with the front porch. And also kind of subdue that garage door, and I think it been kind of my dream to do something like this. Kyle was right that this does not, the renderings do not match the plan I submitted. I was listening to your pre-meeting. And I wanted to get some response from you guys, some just to see what you thought before I went too far, because there's gonna be a lot of effort put into detailing this for timbers and all, so. I'm happy to take a full approval tonight, or if you'd want to wait for a full construction drawings, it'll probably be a couple more weeks before I have full construction drawings. Particularly, like I said, there's gonna be a lot of detail with the timbers and all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you heard most of the members. I don't think anyone really opposed the concept.
Yeah, I was glad to
Yeah,
hear that.
No, I wouldn't. I get the concept. I think it looks great.
Thank you.
And I think the question is, what's going to change on the drawings besides the context? I mean, what you're going to build is going to match what's on these drawings.
So a couple of things. One was exactly how far that porch extends. Right now, it's only coming out about 6 feet, a little over 6 feet. And I was looking at bringing it out further, which would mean the gable would come out further as well, but only on the left side, not on the right. And we've looked at this in the model, but this is the simplest solution. But, architects, we like to make things complicated. So if I don't extend that any further, and that's what I'm showing, I think Kyle noticed, I'm showing it coming out further in the plan than I show on the rendering.
Yeah.
But that gives me quite a bit more usable porch if I do extend it further. And it's just there's two or three more feet.
Yeah, well, I think conceptually, it doesn't sound like there's going to be any issue. So
Okay.
for you, to, feel confident in finishing up your plans, if you're going to revise them, it's why not just postpone?
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I think, again, I wanted to get some input from you guys before I went too far with it. I appreciate it.
Well, especially, it's in a historic district, and you're adding a modification. You weren't sure what the board would say. So I think it's very prudent to get a sort of a pre-look at it. I don't know. Sometimes I've seen projects come through here, and Mike, I'm sure you used to sit on this board. People would bring in projects that were fully engineered and it's a lot of work. So,
It is.
So in some ways, I wish that was more of the case, but
Okay, yeah, so we can make this however you like, whether you call it preliminary or however you want to label it, I'm good. I appreciate your comments. Thank you.
yeah, I think we'll just that's my recommendation. I don't know if anyone else disagrees.
All right,
Yeah,
smooth it.
Angela, sorry.
If you want to, yeah, I agree with that. That's fine with me. I do have one question though. What are you going to do with the little cover that's there right now? Are you going to put it someplace else? Or I'm just curious. I'm just sorry.
My grandfather made that. It's
Oh, really?
Yeah, in fact, the little scallops, the reverse of that, he actually created a hood for the oven or for the stove too out of it. So he liked to work with copper, and in fact, he even made lamps on the front post and against the wall too. So I definitely will not be trashing them. I don't know where they're going to go yet though.
Oh, okay. Just curious, because that's what I thought. If you don't want to lose it just because it looked neat to me too. So yeah, I'm okay with that situation, but sorry.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting, Mike, I'll just add, not to belabor the conversation. When I saw your drawings, I thought that's kind of funny that Mike just did a really quick pencil sketch on this, because normally we see more refined drawings. But then I remembered sometimes when architects work on their own stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm guilty of that too.
That's a different fee.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, that's all good. All right, well, thanks. I guess we'll see you when you get your drawings finished up.
All right.
And just resubmit.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, next on the list, we have 1040 Almont. Kelly, is there anyone online?
So anyone for 1040 Almont, please raise your hand. There you are. Should be Ben.
Yep, that's me.
There you go.
Hi, Ben, are you the homeowner or contractor, architect?
Homeowner, contractor, but not the architect.
Okay. Well, welcome. I think we had a few comments. Who would like to start?
I have some just clarifications that we could just run through real quick. I was looking through the drawings and I was focusing on the clouded areas, but noticed that there was some other changes that I think have been done that were not clouded. And I just wanted to make sure that I'm reading that right.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So did the siding change from what you originally had planned? It looks like there was a band board and maybe two different types of siding that was planned originally.
So yeah, the original plan was for a, I guess, lap siding, but two different exposures, right? So it was going to be, I think it was 7 or 8 inch exposure on the second level and a 4-inch exposure on the first level. The siding that we currently have now, it is a hardy board. It's technically, it is a, you could refer to it as a lap siding. However, it's part of their, it's part of a different collection. It's called V Groove is the line. It's part of their artisan collection. It's a higher end product. It's not like your typical kind of lap siding. The way it fits in and the way it's kind of designed to interlock with itself as you install it is different, and it creates a slightly different look to a regular lap siding. But that change should be noted somewhere on the drawing. If it's not, then yeah, the architect may have just assumed that because it's hardy, it didn't need to be called out, other than the change in exposures.
Yeah, it's not clouded, that the exposure, that we're really just interested in the appearance here. So it's the exposure change, that you had two different kinds and now you have one. It's a more uniform elevation.
Yeah. Hopefully it comes across as a good change, right? Is it better?
I think it definitely simplifies it. I mean, you had a little bit more texture going on before.
Yeah, with the 4-inch exposure like that, it's well, to start with, the look we're going for sure. The aesthetic is the modern farmhouse, right? The look we had before, the 4-inch exposure is like really modern. And then mixing that up on the second floor with the 7 or 8 inch exposure. I've done that before on different, more modern, I guess, urban or city type projects, but not on like a modern farmhouse type project. I think keeping it simple and streamlining the look just went better with the aesthetic for this house.
Okay. And then I also noticed, I think, am I reading this right, that the metal roof at the rear got removed?
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
And to be honest, that was a change. And I guess it is showing graphically on the drawings. It might not be clouded, but it's to be honest, the original intention was not to have a metal roof on the back, and that was something that I didn't catch prior to submitting for the original permit. Yeah, there was no real need for us to put a metal roof on the back. It didn't add to it. It just, to us, we wish we would have just shown a shingle roof to begin with on the back. That's what we were thinking was going to be. And then when we came to construction, we noticed it was shown to be metal.
Okay, makes sense. And then one thing I did want to talk to you about is the brick at the garage. Since you're bringing that brick over.
Yep.
It looks like the brick ends right at the corner.
It does, the same as on the other side. Yep, it
So the
does.
other side does that? Okay, I was
Yeah.
wanting to see if there's any way we could maybe talk about returning it so it doesn't look like it's just tacked on
So
around the
Yeah.
corner.
did think about that. If you could look at the side elevation
Mhm.
where the actual garage doors are, or even on the other side, you can see if we return that brick on that side, it's going to kind of distort this elevation. I don't think it's going to go well. So we'll be, maybe amplifying the brickwork a little bit, but in the process, maybe making that front seem like it wraps around. But in the process, we're kind of gonna, it's kind of be a detriment to that other elevation. You see how it's like you got the trim that's kind of consistent, goes up towards the peak of the roof and back down and around. It encases that whole elevation kind of nicely.
Yeah.
So, in an ideal world, maybe we would look to change it up and return that brick. But I really like this elevation on the side, and I think that doing that's gonna ruin that.
Okay. Yeah, I see that you got trim there, so maybe that helps it a little bit to finish, to make it look finished and not just
Sure.
suburban style. Just
Yeah.
tacking it on. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. What we really want to, avoid, this sort of suburban look, the sort of, those, I know what you're referring to. So yeah, we're
Mhm.
trying to avoid that look there for sure. And there's probably a little piece of trim that's going to transition, that we're going to have to install to transition from the brick to the siding, to maybe cover that joint and make it look nice.
Mhm.
But I think returning the brick is I think it's going to ruin that elevation, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for talking through it. That makes sense to me.
Yep, no problem.
Oh, so you didn't have brick there before, is that right?
That's right. We didn't. Yeah, originally we had the same
Siding.
side. Yep, that carried across, and then
So that it looked more, so why did you change it to the brick? It seems like it would have looked better to just leave it as the siding. Because now you do have that to me, you do have that suburban look. You have the brick across the front that just stops at the corner and doesn't go down the side. That's that look.
yeah, I guess I think that the brick looks really nice. And it might be, if you're just looking at the drawing right now, it probably doesn't give the same effect as it is in real life. But carrying the brick across the whole facade just makes it look like it's one uniform house, rather than the garage kind of being an addition to the house. It seemed to make a lot of sense when we were, getting
But then
ready
it
to
doesn't wrap the corner, so it doesn't, it looks applied to the front of the house.
Yeah, in making the change and keeping the elevation on the side, I don't think, I honestly believe that the brick looks better than having the siding on the front there. I don't think the siding on that front there would have looked that great at all, and that's why we made the change. To have one consistent first floor that goes all the way across in brick, I think that's better than having brick all the way to a certain point and then it just turns into siding. It just
So, but
rather
if you're
than have
doing that on the corner, though, that's exactly what you are doing at the corner. So,
that corner is which corner? Which corner?
it just goes from brick to siding at the corner. And I guess
You mean
that's,
like
so what
where-
you're saying is exactly what I guess I don't personally care for, that look, if it just stops at the corner.
Would you prefer to have siding instead of brick? I'd like that. I don't understand. I guess I'm
You're
not
not,
understanding.
so
Do
I
you
guess,
think that siding would be a better look there than brick?
well,
I mean,
I don't.
I agree with you, Angela. I mean, I think there's a long tradition of, additions that are done where you have a brick house and then you have wings that are done in siding. I also don't like the abrupt end of the brick at a corner.
So I guess to me, I feel like you need to return the brick and, you know, when you say that you like one elevation and another elevation, but you don't, this is a 3-dimensional building, so you don't see one elevation and the other elevation. Most people actually look at a corner. So
If you were looking at the side elevation, do you think that corner would look good with some brick there compared to what it is now?
I think that the house design needs to be completely done as a whole house. And this way it looks as though you've done one elevation and the other elevation, and that this is a 3-dimensional building. So I understand you like both elevations, but they have to go together.
Yeah, you know, in a lot of suburban houses I've seen, they do wrap that corner, and then they like put some kind of, you know, cheap vinyl siding up to butt into it. This isn't that. This is a luxury hardy board artisan V-groove siding, which you know, it's not like you're displaying some brick on the front and then turning it into something cheap on the side. That's not what this is. It's brick on the front. There will be a nice trim. There'll be a piece of trim transition between the siding and the brick there on the corner. And I just don't see how having siding on the front on this elevation, how you determine that that's going to look better than having brick all the way across, despite the fact, I do understand what you're saying. If it was wrapped, yeah, you know, I see what you're saying there, but I don't think that having siding there is going to be better than brick.
So to me, it's just to add to this point, it's not so much whether the garage front is brick or siding, it's what happens at the corner in perspective. So when you stand at the corner and you see both the front and the side of the house, that thin layer of brick without returning it to the garage door makes it look like a you know, a real thin, cheap kind of brick veneer applied to the house, not like a solid masonry, you know, facade. So I think that's a point that Angela's making, that Tracy has made, that Kyle has also made, that I actually agree with. You know, if the whole garage were siding, you wouldn't have that issue. But since you chose to change the front elevation to brick, because you think it looks better, that's fine. I think it sounds like there's 4 of us at least that think if you were going to do that, it would be better to return it at least to the door of the garage. That way it looks, when you view it from perspective, it looks a little more complete. And it's not to say that, you know, whether it's vinyl siding or hardy is not really the question. It's really what the brick is doing on a corner like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I understand. I don't see how I don't see how that elevation on the side elevation, I just don't see how it can work with one return of brick there. I think that whole elevation will look funky with that. You know,
It look fine.
Okay.
I mean, myself.
So right now, very symmetrical elevation right now. You know, you got the siding, you know, that you got the trim on both sides that goes up to the peak all the way down and around. If you just throw like a little piece of brick on the side there, I think it ruins that elevation. It ruins that side elevation. You know, in trying to make the view from the corner better, you're ruining the elevation from front on from the side.
Right, and that's just it. It's never viewed on elevation alone. I mean, we're always viewing these as 3-dimensional objects. So,
so like, you know, the trim transition from the siding to the brick, if that was you know, something that was nice and well thought out, and you know, would that complement this?
So on the elevation of the garage, you could put brick on the other corner as well. And then, you know, if you want to keep it symmetrical, you could return the brick on one side and then put brick on the other side somehow, so that it's still symmetrical.
So, yeah.
What if there's a trim that doesn't allow you to see that edge kind of at that corner? Like that kind of boxes in that brick? like terminates it, has something to die into on the front.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys,
You could
Think
make
about-
something quite wide that, made it almost look like a column at that, and put that on both
on the
corners,
front,
both,
yeah.
both sides of the garage or something, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So it,
Okay. I'm just processing this and trying to come up with solutions as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think maybe the issue is just seeing that the thickness of the brick on that corner.
Yeah. Okay. So, what do you mean by the thickness of the brick?
Like that you can see the, I guess, the whole width of the brick when you're
Uh-huh.
looking at the corner. So, I mean, I was thinking if there's a way that you could just kind of terminate that into, like Angela said, something like a column or a
Mhm.
hefty piece of trim on the front.
So, yeah, the thing is, right? So this house, it's a modern farmhouse. It's kind of got a streamlined feel to it, and keeping the straight lines and straight edges on the ends of the house and the corners is part of it. So, we could put some kind of like flat, maybe larger trim there, but it wouldn't be too intricate. And I wouldn't want it to be too beefy because that's really not the aesthetic of the house here. Having those sharp lines is, for the most part anyway. So, I'm happy to do something like do something with the trim. I don't think it'll be beefy. It definitely wouldn't be like an intricate trim piece. And I don't want to call out like a big column because it's not a big beefy column. It's just
Mhm.
that wouldn't go with it.
Yeah.
I think providing a neat kind of seamless transition from the hardy to the brick and covering that gap with some type of trim that might be acceptable to you would go best with the house. I don't think if we wrap the one corner, I don't think adding brick to the other side is going to do anything, because then you look at the other corner and then you've got siding meeting brick, so that won't kind of go. And then, I would welcome all of you guys to come out and take a look in person. It would really provide probably a different perspective than seeing it on the plans. I really do.
Carol, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I agree with the thinness of the brick. Doesn't really have a very substantial appearance. And also too, I think if we had seen this before the changes were made, there would be discussion about the rear garage elevation and those windows being removed. That gives us kind of a long, uninterrupted expanse of wall. And I would not have been in favor of that change. If you wanted to, still have some windows there, perhaps high windows or something, but I really don't care for that long expanse of blank wall.
Okay, so are we the other, before I address that, is the other issue still out in the open? The one with the brick on the front? Is that something we come back to?
Yeah, I just want to get all the issues out on the table because I want to make sure we're not,
Yep. Okay.
We can come back to the brick.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. So the garage windows, this here is in the very back corner of the lot, right? So it faces neighbors' fences on all sides. There is plenty of light getting into this garage from the front. There's 3 big windows on the front elevation that gets into it. And this garage is, the hope is that it has some utility for us as well as we use it, and we wanted to make sure we had that wall space. So we didn't see losing natural light there as a problem, and aesthetically, we thought that this would be a section of the house that would be rarely looked at by anyone, to tell you the truth.
I appreciate what you're saying about there are other windows and the natural light. However, as you know, here in Webster, we do all see the sides and back of each other's houses. And just because there's fences doesn't mean there isn't somebody who has a second floor view out the back of their home or the side of their home that sees this blank wall. We hear a lot, oh, not that many people see it. However, the other side of that is the neighbors see it. They see it from a closer vantage point and they see it more frequently. So I think they're the most directly affected, and to say they don't matter is not appropriate, because it does matter.
Absolutely. No, never said that the neighbors don't matter. Sorry if I came across like that. The neighbors certainly do matter. I've met them all, and I haven't even moved in yet, and I'm already making new friends. So the neighbors definitely do matter. Now this lot is kind of unique. It's the old water tower lot. It was pretty heavily wooded in the back. There were some trees that are sort of surrounding the garage on all three sides. So, you know, I don't see anybody being able to see into my yard from their house. That's just the way that the lot is situated and the way the neighbors' properties are situated. Yeah.
Well, you know, vegetation comes and vegetation goes. So there may be trees there now and maybe not in the future, or, you know, there may be some future modifications, outbuildings or something that are added that will change the view. So I'll stand by my original comment that if we had seen this beforehand, I personally would not have approved of it. And I think that you can break up that elevation by having some high windows back there, and that would also still give you some utility on that back wall.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably, you know, I probably wouldn't be opposed to having some high windows in there. Obviously, you know, there's a bit of a cost to doing it, but I can see what you're saying. It's so the length of the wall there is probably, let's see, you got 21 feet. You got the door there, 3, so 4, 5, 6. So you're probably looking at about, you know, 14 foot of wall with siding on it. You know, is that really a big enough mass to say, hey, this absolutely must have windows on it?
I think that compared to the other elevations, it looks quite, and I think that high windows would improve it. I really liked the original. I can understand what you're saying about the reasons that you made the change, but there really does need to be something back there. And you have the precedent on that rear elevation for high windows at your second floor. So I think it would be appropriate to have those on the first floor as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I had really the same thought as Carol. When you look at this house from all 4 sides, 3-dimensional, and you spin it around, the garage before looked great. It all looked cohesive. Now it's like a missing, like a blank spot. Like, where did that come from? There's no windows. All of a sudden there's all these windows and there's this blank spot. It looks just kind of, I don't know. It looks like it doesn't belong to the rest of the house. But, you know, high windows in the width that you had in the original one would look nice, and it would balance the house out. I would have made the same comment had we seen it, you know, before it was constructed, for sure. So. And like Carol, I mean, I don't really, I mean, I always look at the context. I drive by all these homes when I review them. But the context is all four sides for me when I evaluate a project every time. I don't look at a blank wall on one side just because it's the back.
Sure, yeah.
And, I mean, thinking from the inside out as well. So anyway,
Yeah.
even though, I can't help to do that because I'm an architect, but what I see, when I see it, I'm thinking the inside and the outside. So I think it would be quite wonderful if those windows were put back in a high bay form. I think if I recall, you had lights in the doors, but you took those out. So this would kind of bring some more of that balance of light back into the space.
Yeah. That the other door that the architect shown on the original plan, I mean, I didn't catch that. I don't know if they are lights. Is that what they're showing? Okay, yeah, it is. Originally, I thought they were showing one of those like historic doors, and I thought, hey, we're definitely going to end up changing that. But now that you called my attention to it, it does look like there's some lights in that door. But I don't think the door we've put on there is out of line with the house. I mean, it's got the grills and it's just a regular 2-panel door.
Well, I didn't say the door was a problem. I'm just saying you're losing light. But I think the high windows on the back would be a nice way to bring some more light back in, like the previous design.
Yeah. And then, in the context of the house too, it's hard to see if you're looking at that back elevation. The set of 4 windows there, that actually kind of protrudes out, and it looks like that wall where the garage is, that it's actually set back a little, so it doesn't look like it's one consistent elevation that all of a sudden has no windows on it. In looking at it on site in context, I don't think it would catch your eye and say, oh my God, where's all the windows on this big blank wall of space, because it is set back and it's just, you can tell it's not on the same plane as the rest of the house. But I do also see, there would be benefit to the windows, and I see what you're saying in keeping that whole elevation consistent as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then Kyle, I don't know if you had a chance to really make any other comments. I don't know if I've asked.
No, I mean, I don't know. I thought the eyebrow, the front entry roof going to an arch could either be bigger, but that's a pain. I don't know. I think we've all agreed that the original house felt better.
Yeah. So, we've got that continuous arch door there, and everything on the house is very sharp and streamlined as we wanted it in design, and has that modern sleek appeal. But we wanted to soften it up a little, and we wanted to highlight the entryway because it is a nice door. And to do that, we added this arch. Now, personally, I wanted the arch to be just a little higher than what it is. But the way it is now, it goes with the door, I guess. And then so, we're also adding new geometries to the house. It's not all just one square, sleek kind of property. We've added a new element to it, which is common on some modern, not modern, but existing farmhouses, where they apply different sort of shapes to it.
I don't care for the eyebrow either. The arch is too shallow. If you're, it would be better to add, and I don't know what it looks like in real life, but here the radius doesn't match the door. And then, you have a double door, which is, I'm sure it's a very nice door, but it just seems the other door seemed much more appropriate for the house. I don't know, the other way fit with the house so much better. And this just looks, maybe like Kyle had said before about making it a higher arch and do something a bit more to it instead of just this slight bend,
Yeah,
you know?
sure. I think seeing it constructed is the looking at it at the plan. You know, I can tell it doesn't add much, and I can definitely you know, relate to what you're saying there. As it's been constructed, though, it does look a little different. We wanted it originally to be a little higher, a little more peaked than what it is. It didn't come out that way through design, but it definitely looks a lot different than what it shows here. And then even when we even when I really need to show a front on photo, there's none here. When you add the roof covering as well, that's going to raise up that front of that eyebrow as well, because you can't tell through the drawing, but the pitch of that eyebrow actually pitches down back towards the house a little before dispersing to the sides. So when you add the roof covering, it's going to add a little more height to that. The roof covering is going to be metal. And there might be ways, you know, that we can actually build that just a little higher as well.
I think the roof covering height would really be negligible. I don't know from my eye that would solve the proportion issue there. And we do have photographs here adjacent to the elevation. And to me, the photographs as built read pretty much the same as the elevation. I don't see where the actual built condition varies from the elevation that much.
Yeah, well, it does a little, but like I said, probably would have liked it to have been a little higher. With my comments on the roof covering, you know, just the fact that it is going to pitch back, and we are going to have to, you know, trim out the front of the roof there. It will give a slightly higher appearance. You might be right. It might be negligible. It won't be zero, but it might be negligible. So, yeah, we like the double door. You know, I don't think that detracts from the house. I think it highlights the entry a little because it's not the same as everything else, and it is a nice door. So, yeah.
Well, it's certainly not a farmhouse door.
That's my thoughts exactly.
But, you know, I saw it. I thought the original design looked a lot better. I'm not, you know, what you did is, I don't know. I guess I'm not going to object to the curve. Just my 2 cents on the front. So I don't know. At this point, we just have I don't know. This is a little. It's doesn't happen very often that our board approves a set of plans and then we get reintroduced with a whole slew of changes that we're asked, you know, to comment on. And I'm just trying to look at it as if it's not built. But it's hard to do because there's a picture here.
Yeah, no, I understand. You know, as we're going through this building process, you know, changes come up, changes happen, and it is very hard to say, hey, stop this right now because we have to go back and get this approved before we do anything, just because of you know, the time frame. So of one, the architect has to design it, and that took honestly a lot longer than I was hoping it would. So that took a long time. And then just for the procedural, you know, way that it is, so we have to get on the agenda, and then we have to wait for the meeting and all that sort of stuff. To stop every time we want to make a change or consider a change will delay our project by a year. You know, it could be. If you make 5 changes, that's up to 6 months. You gotta wait and stop for each change.
Right.
So if there was maybe if there was a way that you could get on the agenda a lot quicker for a resubmittal or a smaller change, that would help in bringing the changes through a lot quicker than having to build them and then try and get it approved.
I think my counterpoint to that would be why are there so many changes on the fly? I mean, you know,
Yeah, some of them.
As an
weren't on the
architect and a contractor, I hate changes. I don't like changes. They cost me money and time. And so again, like, why would I make changes after I had already submitted and gotten this approved? The idea that we need to create a process for people to make changes on the fly during construction doesn't have a lot of appetite for me. We're all
Yeah.
volunteers, so if we're going to review people's projects over and over and over again, you know, that's our time, right?
Sure, fair enough. Yeah, that's a good point. I guess I was just, you know, the answer to why did you get hit with all these changes so late in the game? It was just, one, it took a long time to realize what all the changes were going to be. Two, it took a long time for the architect to actually design it and put it on the plans. And then three, just for the way that it is to get on the agenda and get through to having this meeting, just took a little time.
Did you approach the city at all about the changes that you were thinking about? I mean, did you call the director of planning and discuss with her?
Actually, no. The first time it was discussed was during construction when we were getting our framing inspections, and we hadn't finalized the porch design yet, and so we hadn't built the porch yet. So they were like, "Well, you know, hey, we know that we're going to make some changes here." And then I was told, "Well, you're going to have to resubmit." And then from there, it probably took like 6 weeks to get the design done. So not
you just
direct,
didn't,
not
but you just
directly to the
chose not
director.
to submit the drawings? I mean,
Right.
That's
because
what
you
I'm
started
wondering.
building it? Is that what you're saying? You just chose not to submit them? Is that what you're saying?
No, I submitted them as soon as I seen them, and in fact, you know, it was just kicking the architect into gear to get it done. Just as soon as they were received, they were submitted immediately.
But you,
You built
I guess
them.
I'm a little confused. You answered the question sort of weird. You did the design and you had already built it, or it was, because, you know, we can see it's been built and you didn't submit the drawings. It's a little confusing there.
Yeah, we actually built it prior to it being finished in design because we couldn't get our framing inspection unless there was a porch covering. I believe it was a situation where we had to finish something. The architect was taking a long time to design it. We came up with a design. We told the architect, they said, "Okay, this is what to do." We did it. Then weeks later, they finally provided the design to take to this meeting. We actually submitted for last month's meeting, and we were told that because all of the changes weren't addressed on this one plan, we had to wait until next month and get all of the changes on one plan.
So you were aware when you were constructing these changes that there was a risk involved, that if you constructed them without the plans being submitted and approved, that you were making these changes at your own risk, and that we may indeed end up at this juncture where we are here now. It sounds to me like you were aware of that.
Well, you know, honestly, with the exception of the porch, I didn't think any of the other changes were really substantial. So, you know, I didn't really know there was a very large risk, to tell you the truth. Yeah, and to be honest, you know, this is the first time I've developed in an area where there was an architectural review board. So, you know, I guess I wasn't really aware of of all the processes here.
And is this, I'm sorry, are you going to live in this house?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Yeah, and that, you know, and maybe that might answer the other question is, you know, why are there so many changes, you know, as a contractor? Absolutely. I personally don't like a lot of changes, but when it's your own home and you've been thinking about things for 3 years, and then you got to make a decision in 1 hour, it can be overwhelming, and you know, it's a lot of stuff happens in a very short period of time.
I hear that, man. I took 5 years to design my house.
Yeah. There you go.
But you didn't make any changes once you did the drawings, because you took.
I made one change and I got Mara to approve it, you know? See, I you know,
Well,
I asked for it before I built it.
if Pinterest didn't exist, we wouldn't be getting any other ideas, but it does. So we keep changing our minds.
Yeah.
Luckily, you guys don't review the interior because it'd be very frustrating.
All right, to move this along, I think I'm gonna say my only concerns are with the brick transition and the windows on the rear of the garage. I don't know if anyone has any other concerns that they think need to be addressed besides those two. And if not, then the question would go back to you, Ben. If you would consider putting the windows back on the rear that the improved plan showed.
The windows, if it came down to it, I would probably lean towards doing the higher windows that Carol had suggested. You know, the thing is the timing of all this is that, you know, we're getting towards the end and our permit's going to expire and it takes 6 weeks to get windows and then another, you know, 2 weeks to cut the siding and
Right.
do all that. So I just, you know, if it's something that could be maybe discussed and considered and approved and agreed at a later date, I'd be open to it. I'm just really worried about missing my permit date of February 24th.
No, I think to me, it's a question of, would you be willing to do that? I'm not, you know, your timing aside, I'm just asking the question, is that something that you'd be willing to do?
I think the windows on the garage, yes.
Okay. And then as far as the transition goes on the brick, it just seems like maybe the simplest solution was that I had heard was the trim being added to the front. Is that what I'm hearing from people? You know, and I think, Ben, you had actually made the comment, you know, as long as it was a small piece, that sounded like something that would be, you know, that you could accommodate. So it's whatever the width of your corner trim is, it's sort of, you would add that to the front of the brick. And that way the brick is contained by the trim, and then that funny corner where you see this, the edge of the brick that's a funny detail to me. But it sounds like it's a pretty minor compromise that you said you'd be willing to do before. But I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I thought that's what you said.
Yeah, I think that would be a more viable solution than wrapping the corner. I think I really like that elevation on the sides, even though not many people will look at it. Having the trim down on the front and wrapping that corner with the hardy, it would be with a hardy trim that kind of is, you know, installed to make it like a uniform sort of wrap around there. I think that'd be the most viable solution.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I don't know anyone else.
So how wide is the trim?
Yeah.
So on the front face, you know, the exposed on the front face, it can come in, it'd be 1x4. We're using 5/4, so it'd be 5/4x4, which would be a true 1 inch thick, and it'd be 3.5 inches wide. They do make it in 5.5 inches wide as well. But if to keep consistent with all of the other trim, I would be proposing to do it in a 5/4x4 trim, which is true dimension 1 inch by 3.5.
And that's the trim that's on all the corners?
That's the trim that's on all the windows. Yeah, and all the siding corners. Yeah.
Yeah, the corners with siding. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
if I did it on one side, I'd probably go ahead and do it on the other side, even though it didn't call for that originally.
Yes, I think that would be helpful. I have to say, I think that is okay. But I would have preferred it done differently, personally, than that. I think that's an okay solution.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're trying to work with what's built with that solution.
No, that's fine. But there might have been maybe way back prior to the project starting, maybe designing it differently. But with the elevation on the side the way it is, I would have to maintain that the adding a brick wraparound will ruin that elevation.
Okay, Carol, do you have any other comments? or Kyle? Tracy, I've heard from you. Angela? We're
I
good?
think that basically we've addressed the main comments. I just personally, for me, the original front porch and the original column arrangement and the front door configuration were much more consistent with a farmhouse style than what we have with the double arched glass windows. I mean, it's all right, but I certainly do prefer the original, but you know, we are where we are. So
Yeah. Okay. And then Kyle, I think you were finished with your comments.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, I hope you really are the homeowner. I feel a little more lenient towards homeowners than developers. And so I appreciate the stress of designing and building your own home. So credit to that. And if you do develop other houses in Webster Groves, I hope this experience you've learned from, and you know what we like.
Absolutely. No, it definitely is. And no, I understand. I appreciate you guys volunteering your time and keeping the integrity of Webster. That's something I do appreciate. So I understand where you guys are coming from.
Yeah. Okay, with that, then I understand that you would agree to put the transom windows on the rear of the garage, basically in the alignment that they were in before. So 2 of them. And then add the,
Well, actually, the windows were full height windows previously.
no, I know, but I'm saying as far as their alignment in the plan.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Correct.
so you would keep that arrangement, but you're just gonna put them up as transom windows, the same
Yeah.
size.
Would one long window be better than 2 smaller windows?
I think 2 windows would look better.
Goes more with the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
the rhythm of the windows, you have windows punched open.
Gotcha.
I think it would look nice. But so if that's in agreement, then, and the trim on the front, then we can make a motion.
Just guys, I'm just really concerned. I can agree to the windows, but I'm concerned that if I don't get them in time, then my permit's going to expire. It expires February 24th.
Right.
We're not the building department, and we can't tell you anything about that.
Right.
But
So
they sent you back here, so I think they'll understand what we're doing.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I think it's a good point, Kyle. All right. So with that, I mean, because we have to make a motion on this, and I think I don't want to go through it again because we just did. So with that, I'm going to ask for one of the members for a motion. Kyle.
Who's got it all? You want me? Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the changes for 1040 Almont as submitted, with the condition that the rear garage windows that were originally approved and layout be returned with a transom style window to match other windows on the rear, and the end of the brick veneer to receive a trim detail to conceal the trim to siding connection.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay, Ben, you're good to go with that. Good luck on the rest of the build.
All right. Thank you very much, guys.
You're welcome. All right, and next on our list, we have 818 Providence. Is there anyone on the call? Kelly?
Looks like I've got Nick coming on. Anyone else for Providence? Looks like I've got Jason as well. Anybody else? So Nick and Jason, can you hear us?
Yes.
There's Nick.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just, I live like right next door and the current house is really close to us. So just was curious to see what was going on next door.
Okay, so Jason,
and-
you're a neighbor?
Yeah, yep. I
Okay,
live to the, what would that be, the west, I believe.
okay, so you can only listen, you can't interact in the conversation.
Yep,
Okay,
understood.
great, thanks.
Okay, so Nick, are you the owner, builder?
I am the current owner of the property. It's under contract and I'm the contractor building the home.
Oh, okay, very good. So we had a series of revisions that were issued to us in written form and revised drawings. I think if I could surmise, with revised drawings, all of the comments were addressed except for the window on the right side, second floor bedroom window. I don't know if you heard our pre-meeting, but there's a few of us that thought that that would be a good idea to help break up the facade on that side and be really nice for the room as well. I mean, anyone that occupies a bedroom, you know, it's nice to have a bigger window.
Yeah, and I apologize. I missed your guys' previous conversation about it, but I believe, and maybe we didn't type it in the comments sheet there, but we are going to take that single window, make it a twin and center it in that bedroom.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that was really the only thing. So if that, and my fellow board members, correct me if I'm wrong, but with that, I think we had decided if that was the case, then we would move to, since this is preliminary as all new construction is, we would make a, go ahead and move to vote with that as part of the motion. And so that sounds like the plan that you agree with.
That sounds great for me.
Okay, super. All right, with that, unless I forgot something, I'm going to ask for a motion. From Carol?
I'll make a motion to approve 818 Providence based on the clarification document received on January 20. And with the clarification that the center bedroom on the right side, second floor, will have a twin window centered in the bedroom.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay, Nick, you're good to go.
Thank you. And real quick, if the neighbor, I'm sorry, I forgot what his name was, is looking for some information, you guys feel free, or have Mara feel free, you can share my phone number and email address. I'm more than happy to send them everything over and walk through what we're doing. We normally introduce ourselves to the neighbors anyway. Kyle's a little farther down the street, but Kyle will be one of the neighbors as well over there.
Yeah. It's going to be the second nicest house on the street, Nick.
That's right. That's right.
But no, it'll be the newest too.
No, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Nick.
All right, I guess with that, the meeting is adjourned. Good to see you, Tracy. Come back
You guys too.
with Leo.
Good to see everybody. I missed you.
Yeah.
Kyle.
Me too.
All right, and
Glad I can make more of
Angela,
these. I
you're taking the
volunteered.
helm. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I
Kyle.
said I volunteered to do more of these. I made sure that Mara and Kelly know I'm available.
Great.
All right, everybody. See you
All
next
right.
time, except Bob.
I won't be
Yep.
here. You'll see something I've done though.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, right. Good
Pretty
stuff.
neat.
Oh,
All right.
Pretty neat.
We'll
All right,
talk
guys.
to you
Good
guys.
night.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
See
good
ya.
night.
Bye.
bye.